Page 181. So we have finished multiplying stuff out. So for example, we did this. 2x times x plus 5 gives me what? What does that equal? X squared plus 10x. All right, we just multiply this in. Then we did binomial. So that, oh, sorry, you can't see that. There we go. And then we did binomials, which is just foiling. Okay. So you got x squared plus 3x plus x plus 3. Those are your like terms. So then we did that. And we also did this, which was a special case. If you remember that, that's called a difference of squares. If not, you can just FOIL it, and you will end up with x squared plus 5x minus 5x minus 25. And those cancel to get that. So that's what the whole, basically the last chapter was about. It's multiplying things out. This chapter is about the reverse process, which is probably one of the most important concepts in math. Okay? It's called factoring. So what you do in factoring is you basically just go from here to here. You are creating brackets when you factor. Okay? So there's like 3 or 4 different types of factoring that we're going to look at this year. And like I said, if you plan on doing any upper level math, grade 11 or grade 12 onto calculus, whatever, you want to be an engineer, physicist, chemist, any of those things to do with science, exercise science, anything, you have to take math. And to do math, you pretty much have to know how to factor. Okay? So this is really, really important. But we're going to start small. So if you flip the page, we've done greatest common factors. Now, we're not going to do the factor trees like we did before. We're just going to look at this because we're going to have variables in here. So 6a cubed can be written as 2 times 3 times a times a times a. And 9a squared b is the same as 9, which is 3 times 3. A squared means you have 2 a's and a b. The common factors. So let's just look at the way it's written when it's expanded. So these two forms. Okay. Just look at the numbers. What is common in both of those? From these two and from these two. What's common? A 3, right? There's a 3 in both. That's it. That's common in both of them. So that's going to be one of ours. What else is common? Now looking at the letters, the variables. There's a 1a, so this a and this a, so we can write that. Is there anything else? There's another a. Is there anything else that's common in both? There isn't. So we wouldn't write 3aa. What would we write? 3a squared. That is the common factor of 6a cubed and 9a squared b. And what you essentially did is you found the largest number that divides into 6 and 3, or 6 and 9, sorry, which is 3. So find the largest number that divides into both numbers, both. And then for the variables or the letters, look at the letters that are common. So we have an A in this one and an A in that one. You take out the smaller exponent. Okay? That's how we get this a squared here. We have a squared, we have an a cubed, so I take the a squared out. Okay? That is how you find the greatest common factor. So find the largest number that divides into both of the numbers and take out the smaller exponent. So we're just going to practice this here. So we're going to do 8x squared y squared and 20xy cubed. Look at the numbers. What is the largest number that will divide into both 8 and 20? 4, right? Does everybody agree with that? Because if you do, 6 won't do it, 8 won't do it, 10 won't do it, etc. So 4 is the largest number. So that's your common factor for the numbers. For the variables, we have, do them separately. So we have an x squared and we have an x. Which has the smaller exponent? X. What's the exponent on the x? 1. So an x comes out. And then the y squared and the y cubed, which is the smaller exponent? Y squared. So you take out the y squared. That is the greatest common factor for 8x squared y squared, 20xy cubed. Okay, that's how you find it. Is that okay? We'll do one more example. I'll give you a couple practice and then we'll move on. So at the bottom of the page here, we'll do A and we'll do D. So 12 and 15, what's the largest number you can divide both of those by? 3. So 3 comes out. Looking at the A's, what's the smaller exponent? A to the power of 1, this one. So the A comes out. And the B's? Just the B, right? Is that okay? All right, D. 40, 20, 10. Largest number that can divide into each of those. 10. And since they're all negative, we're going to write negative 10. Okay. There's an a cubed, an a squared, and an a squared. What's the smallest exponent? A squared. There's a b cubed, and a b squared. Smallest exponent is? That's all you have to do to find the greatest common factor. Okay? Are there any questions? Yep.
What happens if you have a positive and a negative?
You can choose to take a negative out. You'll see later on, sometimes you want to take a negative out, sometimes you don't. But right now, they're either all going to be positive or all going to be negative. But later on, it depends what you want to do with it. Okay? All right. The only question I want you to do is number 3, please. And I want you to do A, B, and then J to L. But you can always do all of them if you really want to. A, B, J to L. And then we'll start doing something else with this. Sorry? J to L. It would be largest number that goes into 8 and 20. 4. X squared and X. The lowest exponent would be the X, and then Y squared, Y cubed. The lowest exponent is the Y squared. So this number that sits outside in front of the brackets is your greatest common factor. The question is, how do you get what's in the brackets?
you divide the first number by the greatest common factor.
Yes. To get what's left in the brackets, you divide by the greatest common factor, like these by the greatest common factor. Okay? So, divide by the GCF. That's how you get what is in the brackets. And that's called factoring. All right? When you create brackets, that is called factoring. And that's what we're going to do right now. So, this first one here. What is the greatest common factor of 21 and 14? 7. Is there a common factor of x and y? No. So if I take 21 and I divide by my greatest common factor, which is 7, 21 divided by 7 is? There's a 3x there. 14 divided by 7 is? That's how you get what's in the brackets. Okay? So it doesn't matter how complex it is, it's the same process. So you have a trinomial with a bunch of variables. Common factor of 5, 15, and 5 is? X to the 4, x cubed, x squared. Common factor is? And you can check. Okay, you can even write it out if you want. So then you would divide each one of these terms by your greatest common factor, which is 5x squared. 5 divided by 5 is 1. X to the 4 over x squared. X to the power of 2, because what do you do to the exponents? Subtract them. So that's why we have an x squared there. 15 divided by 5 is? 3. X cubed over x squared is? X to the 1, because you subtract the exponents. 5x squared divided by 5x squared. There's two ways to do this way. You can go 5 divided by 5 is? X squared over x squared is? X to the 0. Anything to the 0 power is? 1. Or you can just know that anything divided by itself is 1. Okay? So that's how you get that. All right. So we're going to build this slowly. In this one, they've given us the greatest common factor. It's on the outside. We just have to figure out what's on the inside. So you divide every term by the common factor, the greatest common factor. So what 5a squared over 5a is, they've already told us, a. 25a divided by 5a is 5. How could you check to see if you did it right? Yes, if you multiply this back in, you should get your original. That's a way to always check, okay? Let's do the last two, C and D. Okay, they've given us the greatest common factor of negative 2m, so they've taken the negative out. What's in the brackets? Negative 4, so you don't have to write it out like this every time, but if you want to. Negative 4 divided by negative 2, what is that? Positive 2. M over m is no more m's. What happens to the n? Just gets hanging out. So 2n. Then you got to divide the negative 6. Remember, you always take the sign that's in front of it. So negative 6 divided by negative 2 is positive 3. M squared over m. And that's it. It's factored. Okay, you try D, please. And I'll do it, and we'll see if we all get the same answer. You what?
3 triangles that are all different sine, cosine, and tan. I was like, just find these angles. They all equal 36. When does that happen?
You're supposed to act like you
Random
did.
numbers.
You're supposed to act like you did that on purpose. By the way, you're being recorded right now, so
Oh, good times.
you should just act like you did that on purpose.
So you eat and get recorded?
Yeah, I eat right by it too with my mouth open. Are we done? Is that it? 2xy squared minus 5y plus 1? Does everybody agree with that? Yeah. Don't forget the 1. It is very important.
I missed the number completely. So.
Just you pretended the 9x wasn't there?
Yeah.
Perfect. Okay. So now that's the building blocks. Now we're at the top step. Okay. What the question will look like in every math class from now on is it, well, when you get to higher levels, it doesn't even say factor. But in grade 10, it just says factor. So now we got to factor. As soon as you see the word factor, this means make brackets. That's what you're trying to do. You're trying to make these brackets. Okay? So we're just doing greatest common factor right now. So I look at this and I go, okay, what's the greatest common factor of 20 and 6? 2? Okay, is there an x in both? No. So I bracket it. What's left inside? (10x minus 3), because you divide each term by your greatest common factor. Is that okay? All right. 16x to the 4th plus 4x squared. Common factor of 16 and 4 is? X4, x squared is? Divide each term by your 4, what you took out. Now, look, when you get good at this, you won't actually write this division. But if you do, I don't care. That's fine. What's 16 divided by 4? 4. What's x to the 4th divided by x squared? Subtract the exponents, x squared. Yeah, you're talking about the next one. And then what's 4x squared divided by 4x squared? 1. What? Okay. All right. Common factor. 10, 8, 2. Greatest common factor is? A cubed, A. B squared, B cubed, B4. All right. Tell me what's inside. It gets a little tricky when you have more stuff. Are we ready? No. Sorry. Is that it? 5a squared plus 4b plus b squared? Yeah? All right. Okay.
Why in the floor there isn't an A? Isn't it supposed to be like?
Here?
Oh no!
Okay. All right. Here's the challenge, people. We're doing E. All on your own. Just go for it. And then I'll put my answer up and you can all tell me how I did it wrong. Here we go. E. Is what, negative or positive? Greatest common factor? Positive. Just pull the positive.
You're talking. We're slow. I feel like
Are you sure?
No. Yeah. Wait, that's true. No, that's yeah. Okay. Oh, yeah. For sure.
Are we ready? Are we ready? Are we ready?
Yes. Yes. Go.
5xy squared z squared bracket 5z minus 4xy squared plus 6x cubed z cubed. Yeah? Good? If you got it wrong, do you know what you did wrong? All right. Food. Homemade food. Good comeback. I was trying to think of something quirky to say, but couldn't think of anything. 7 and 9, please.